All right, so welcome back to another recap and look ahead video. So, if you're new to this, what I do is I do a recap on all the series that I raced this past season. After all of that, I give you guys an idea when I'm going to be running this coming season and what to look forward to. So, we'll get started with the Ferrari Challenge. Now, it's a decent series if you're in the top split. And I say the top split because I've had some viewers comment on what they're seeing in the lower splits. This is a D-class series with a very high horsepower car, easy to get loose on exit. It's just, I've had a few bad races. I've had a few races I've been taken out in turn one. And don't get me wrong, they're not all other people's faults. I've had some races that, have been my fault. The second race at Watkins Glen would be a case. You guys didn't get to see that. I didn't post that. I do apologize. I should have. But for the most part, the top split has been decent. I've had good runs, and I've had terrible races where I've been wrecked early on. I've had some races where I struggled, so they weren't all just wrecks. But I will say that the bad races have overshadowed the good ones. I've had a few 4 or 5 out of the 22 races that were really bad that I got wrecked. Just issues. The car was very fragile at the beginning of the season. I think they kind of fixed that with some updates going through. Very easy to screw the rear axle, get it all bent out of shape with minor contact.
The leader's just done it, 135.06.
So some of those issues I think were resolved with some updates. But like I said, I had some good races. So with that, I ran this season. I was in Division 2 this season in the Ferrari Challenge. I did finish my division in 11th place. I did finish overall 43rd. So I did really well. The races I did well at, I did good at, were good points races for me. But I did get one win. So I didn't think I'd get a win in the Ferrari, but I did, and it was at Leiden, and it wasn't a very popular field, but I will take the win. Would I recommend this series? I would, with caution. If your I rating's not high enough to be in the top 2 splits, I would race with extreme caution. I would use caution even if you're in the top 2 splits. I think I had a few races that were single split, Leiden being one of them. I think both my races were single splits, but I could be mistaken. I know one was. But even you get some incidents in the top split that I couldn't believe happened. My second race at Long Beach was a much higher strength of field than my first race was, and there was more wrecks in it than there was the first race. So I would recommend this series if you want to test out what the GT3 cars can do, ours being the Ferrari, since it's only a Ferrari series. But it gave me an idea of what a GT3 car is like. It's a lot more powerful than any of the other things I've driven, being the Mazda, the Toyota, the touring car, the GT4. So very fast, very quick. Took me a little while to get used to it. Once I got it figured out, I was getting up to the times, or getting into the times that I wanted to. that I felt comfortable with getting into a race faster than I did at the beginning of the season. But again, I would recommend the series. I would recommend it with caution. If you're somebody that gets upset, getting run into, and getting into accidents, I would steer clear of this series. You can have some clean races, and you can have some not so clean races. So when I was saying that the bad races kind of overshadowed the good, I had probably three races that I lost nearly 100 I rating. So those 3 races, plus some other races I lost I rating, really hurt. So for this series, I end up losing 203 I rating in just this series alone. I will say it is the worst road series that I've been in performance-wise, and I base my performance on my gain or loss of I rating in the series, not overall, but in the series. With losing 203 I rating on the average, because I figure out the average gain loss per race, it turns out that this is the worst road series that I've done based on my gain loss per race. Again, I enjoyed the car. I had fun. I can't recommend it completely. Just got to use some caution going into it. I was forewarned before I got into it, so I had an idea of what I was getting myself into, and I was expecting worse than what I got into. Like I said, I had viewers report what they were seeing in some of the bottom splits, and what they were reporting was pretty much on par with what I was being told before I started this series. So, car's fun. It's a good indicator of what a GT3 can be like. So, kind of leave it at that. Now, on to the Advanced Legends Cup. I was so looking forward to this series because I had a lot of fun in this car on the dirt side. I still wish there was more participation in the Dirt Legends, but unfortunately there's not. To me, they were a lot of fun to drive. So when I came to the oval side, I was really looking forward to this car. I was really disappointed. So in my division, again, we were Division 2. We finished 14th in the division, 38th overall. I had some really good points runs. Very, very seldom did I have 2 races. So I only did 2 races a week in this series, just like I did the Ferrari. Very seldom did I have 2 good races. I may have had 1 good race and 1 really bad race. So the problem I found with these cars is if you take a look at the cars, the tires extend past the fenders. I don't know the way they've done the damage model on these or what, but because those tires extend just a little bit past the fender, they behave like an open wheel car. You can't race side by side. You can't bang and bump each other because the car will react in a way that will cause it to flip, cause it to bounce, cause it to jump up in the air. It behaves like an open wheel car. If you've ever driven an open wheel car on iRacing, there's no fenders, so you have a lot of wheel to wheel contact. I think the way the car behaves, like I said, it behaves like an open wheel car. I think it's too much to an extreme. I mean, it doesn't take much. In my first race, I'd run over somebody's fender and I went flying through the air. Like I said, you can't run side by side. Netcode is pretty bad with these cars. And then you do flip, you do turn, you spin, you do whatever, you go to get your car repaired, you've got 8 minutes of damage. Well, you're running 13, 15-second laps at a lot of these short tracks. So they're running 4 laps for every minute. If you've got 8 minutes of damage, they've just run 32 laps on you. Well, the race is 45 laps, so you're out over half of the race. A few cases, Joshua, my teammate, he had some damage. He was able to keep going in and get it fixed. The majority of the times that I end up in an accident, I had the 8 minutes. I think my last race of the season, or second to last race, I had 16 minutes worth of damage. There's no way I was going to get back out there and even run some laps. I think one race at Concord, I did. I stuck around for the 8 minutes of damage. I went back out. I didn't even get credit for that race on my, if you run enough weeks throughout the season, you will get an iRating credit. Well, that week didn't count for me because the first race that I ran lasted 1 lap. So that race, I went back out. Excuse me. That race, I went back out and I ran, but you have to run half the race in order to get credit for the race for the week. All 8 minutes, I didn't. So a lot of these races couldn't even run half the race. And then if you didn't have damage, sometimes, so they changed the rule on the Advanced Legends this season that it used to be just a lapped event. So you'd have 40 laps, 45 laps, however many laps at whatever track. Well, they added a 30-minute time limit. So you have 30 minutes to get all those laps run. 15-second laps, it's not going to take very long to run 45 laps. But you've got cautions. Caution laps don't count now. So because of that, if your time expires, if you get to the 30-minute time limit before you get to the 45 laps, the race is just over. So let's say it takes you, because of all the cautions, you run 29 laps out of 45. Well, at the end of 30 minutes, that 29 laps is all you've got. You don't get to finish the race to the lap length. It's to the time length. So therefore, it's timed out. Well, out of the 20 races I ran, I had 4 races that timed out. I mean, that's not a very good percentage. I mean, it kind of sucks. You want to race the race. I understand that you don't want to spend all race pacing around, but you also want to race. So that kind of sucks. I did get 2 wins in this series, but I consider only one deserved. The reason why one of them I don't really mention it, because if you look at the stats, I do have 2 wins, but it really, like I said, I only got 1. My second win came because it was at Oxford, which one of those races I got disqualified, ran 20 laps, got DQ'd because it was such a mess. But the second race, I got the win because second and first came together. The guy that was in second spun first. He didn't want to win that way, so he went and pitted, so I ended up winning because I was in third. So, very disappointed in this series. I was really looking forward to it, but the way the car behaves, the cautions, it's just, I cannot recommend this series at all. Unless you're fast enough to where you can run top 3 all the time. And even then, it's not safe. I've seen leaders spin and get together. It's just, and being a chance of the race being timed out, I can't recommend this series at all, which is disappointing. We did lose 173 iRating in this series. This actually makes it our 3rd worst oval series, behind the SK Modified Fixed and the NIS series. So it got to the point where at the end of the season I was just ready for it to be over with. It was just that bad and pitiful. And then of course, I think I only had 1 good race the last week of the season. It's just practicing for it. You got to the point where I really didn't care. We were going to run a bunch of caution flags most of the time anyways. You don't know if it was going to last to the laps. So again, I cannot recommend the Legends Cup. Some people watching this may argue with me on that, but it's my opinion. I run 2 new series every season and give my thoughts on them when I get done, and I move on. So if I do good enough, they'll turn into my one-off series. Speaking of my one-off series, I did the GR Buttkicker Cup. Now, we didn't get a full 8 weeks in. Beginning of the season, I was still busy. We did run 7 races. So Division 2 again, we ran 70, or we finished 76th in my division, 267th overall. Out of those 7 races, I did struggle at some tracks, Virginia being one of them. I had good runs. Phillip Island was a really good race. So I enjoy the car. It is slower. It is, to me, it's fun to drive. It's a little tight. I wish you could mess with the brake bias. It's the only downside I don't like about the fixed series is, well, even the open series, you can't adjust the brake bias. So that's the only downside I have with the car, is you can't mess with the brake bias. You got to be careful with the traction control, but I think that the Toyota is a really fun car to drive. The fun series to drive in. So out of those 7 races, I did lose 26 iRating, but again, you know, I struggled at some tracks. I ran better at other tracks, but losing 26 over 7 races, I'm not too concerned about. I mean, that's less than 4 points a race. So it did come down. The GR, the Toyota, was my best series that I had ran. It actually come down to second, because taking over top spot is amazingly the 360 Sprint Car Fixed Series. I don't consider myself a good dirt driver. My iRating may be up. I think it's 26, 27, 2800, somewhere around there. I don't consider myself a dirt racer. I can't pick a line. I can't tell when the line changes or when to change the line. I can't read the track very well. Other guys are better at it than I am. I've watched Dirt Gavin, and just watching his race and some of the other guys that he races against. Yeah, I'm nowhere near that caliber. I should be. I think Gavin's like over 5,000, I think. But I don't consider myself a dirt racer, even with my iRating as high as it is. But somehow I do well in this series. I don't know how. We only ran 6 races. We finished 56th in Division 2, 147th overall. So I thought that was pretty good for only running 6 races. We had some good runs. We had some bad runs. Cedar Lake is probably my worst track, no matter what car I go to or I drive there. I struggle at Cedar Lake. The way you have to drive that track and the high line just scares the crap out of me getting that close to the wall. I'm not a high line guy. But somehow we gained 84 iRating this season. So, like I said, I've had some really good runs. I've had a few bad runs, but for the most part, they were good. And I enjoy this race. I enjoy how hard it is to be good in a dirt series. It's very hard to drive. Everybody sees the car. You're sliding through the corners, and you've got a lot of rotation into it. But that's what you see, but that's not really what you want to do. There's a finesse to these cars, and that's what I like about them. I really like the sprint cars over what I guess you could consider the tin tops. Of course, I've only ran the what is it, 358 modified and the limited late model, but I enjoy the sprint cars better. So this series has actually become my top series. So we ran a few races in the cars, the late model stock. We ran 6 of those actually. We finished 58th in Division 2 and 243rd overall. Now, 2 seasons ago, they updated this car. I think it was 2 seasons. I think it was season 2 when they updated the late model, and that actually drew a lot of people to the late model, which is good to see. It wasn't a dead series. It wasn't a low participation series, but a lot of people have found interest in this series since the car was changed a few seasons ago. Now, I had some good races, and I had a really bad one at Oxford. Oxford is so small, I don't know how you end up on your roof in a late model, but somehow I did. So didn't get any wins this season. Hadn't had a win in the late model in a while though. But overall, I lost 71 I rating. Now, to put that in perspective, I lost 117 at Oxford alone. So if I hadn't run Oxford, I actually would have gained I rating this season. I just did not have the best luck at Oxford. Unfortunately, the week we went to Oxford in this car, we were also there for 2 races in the Legends, and that nearly killed me, and I nearly lost my A license because of it. But late model car is probably, it is the best oval series that I run, and to me it's the most fun. It's the best car on the oval side right now, in my opinion. But you can beat and bang, you can race close, you can do a lot of side-by-side racing. They're just a lot of fun, and they sound great. So with the end of the long Craftsman Truck Series season, there is a 4-race shortened season, basically. We did compete in 2 races out of that. So we finished 123rd in Division 2, 509th overall. Again, I only ran 2 out of the 4. I had 1 good run at Dover and a really bad run in Atlanta. So between those 2 races, I lost 10 I rating. Not bad. Could have been worse. So the trucks are a lot of fun. I enjoy the open over the fixed. Don't know why. Well, I do know why, because they're longer races, basically. They're longer races, and I really enjoy races where you can get a green flag pit stop, and we were able to do that at Dover. So those are always my favorite races, when you can just get a long green flag run and see how well you can do over a long run. But so I had a lot of fun in my one-off series, not so much in my 2 new series this season. Did have some fun in the Ferrari. I had some aggravating races though. I had some good battles in the Legends, I will say that, but just overall in both of those series, the bad races, just like I said, overshadowed the good ones. You're going to have some bad races, but what you hope is that that's not all you remember, and unfortunately, that's a lot of what I remember in the Ferrari and the Legends, is the bad races. So now that we've looked back on this past season and what I've run, let's start looking ahead. So we are going to give the 10 Tops a break, and we are going to run the fixed Formula 4 series. So I'm looking forward to that. When I first started road racing, when I first started iRacing, I was all about NASCAR, wanted to get into the Cup Series, and that's all I cared about. That's all I wanted to do. When I started to experiment with the roadside, all I wanted to do was US open wheel cars. So I did some of that. You guys haven't seen that because that was before YouTube. So I haven't raced open wheels in a while. So this will be an experience, especially coming from the GT3. The problem you got to be careful with open wheelers, they're light and they're easy to lock the brakes up. So, but we will be running the fixed Formula 4 series, so I am looking forward to getting back in an open wheel car. We're probably going to struggle, honestly, especially with guys who've been running open wheels for a long time. So we're going to give it a go, see what happens. And then for our other new dirt series, we're going to go back to dirt. We're going to do some Class C dirt street stocks. So I've done sprint cars, like the sprint cars, 305s, 360s. Those are my favorite. The worst dirt cars that I've been in have been 358 and the limited late model. So we did have a few wins when we were in rookies, when we were racing dirt street stocks. So I'm kind of excited to get back in this. I couldn't wait to get out of the street stocks when I was in rookie. They're slow, they're clunky, but I'm looking forward to kind of get back in them. Hopefully we can have some good races. I haven't heard good or bad. I know on the oval side, the street stocks can be kind of caution flags and a lot of eye pacing. So hoping we can have some good runs in the dirt street stocks. I'm looking forward to that. And then, so those are the two new series I'm going to do this season. The fixed Formula 4 and the Class C dirt street stocks. And then for my one-off series, so my one-off series are the better series that I perform in when it comes to I-rating gain loss per race, okay? So with the 360 sprint car being my best series that I run, that's going to make a comeback. So we're going to do an extra dirt race this coming season. So for my few oval fan guys out there, don't worry. The late model stock series is going to come back. I'm going to run that one again. And I'm also going to run the open truck series. So unfortunately, with these being towards the end of the week, if my week is busy or something comes up, those races will kind of fall off. In the past, I've always tried to do 8 races. But I'm going to try to stick to 7. The reason being, again, looking at next season and even farther on this. So I have started an endurance team. Right now I have 3 drivers on it. My goal was actually not doing any endurance racing until 2025. But I have decided that we are going to run 4 endurance races this coming year. We're going to do the Bathurst, I don't know if they're called Bathurst 12 or the Bathurst 1000. Either way, we're going to run Mount Panorama. We are going to run the Spa 12, Watkins Glen 6, and the Fuji 8. So I have 2 other drivers. We are going to run these series. So in the past, I've always tried to run 8 races a week, 2 on a Saturday, 1 on Sunday morning. I'm actually going to use my Sunday mornings to test for our endurance race, our next endurance race that will be coming up. which probably won't be until about the middle of February. So when that time comes, I'll record the sections that I drive in. But even looking a little bit farther ahead, like I said, new team, the 3 of us, we're going to do these shorter endurance races. 2025, we're going to start doing the 2 24-hour races that I know of: Daytona 24 and Nürburgring 24. And then you've got the Petit Le Mans, and then there's another one. Oh, Sebring. I don't know. There's another one in there I'm missing. Maybe it is Sebring. I can't remember. So, but with that said, we're going to need more than 3 guys. So if you're still watching this video, probably after season 2 this year, I will start looking at adding to our team. If you're interested, join my Discord. The link is down in the section or in the description below. I'm not necessarily looking for fast guys. I'm not a fast guy. I'm not paying attention to high rating. I do kind of pay attention to safety rating, because if you can't finish a race, you're not going to be able to finish an endurance race. But if some of you guys are still watching this that are new to iRacing, but you don't think you're up to it, join my Discord. We'll help you get up to speed as best we can. And then over the next 6 months, who knows, maybe we'll invite you onto the team. So anyways, that's kind of look ahead what we got going this coming season. Like I said, a recap of that. We're going to do some fixed Formula 4 open wheel racing. We're going to do some dirt straight stocks. Going to continue running the 360 sprints. Run some late models and some open truck series. And hopefully we can do well in the few endurance series we're going to run this season. So, or not this season, but this year. So anyways, you guys like what you see, hit the like, subscribe buttons. If you guys have any questions, you can comment in the section below. Best place to comment so you can get more help if you have any questions of any kind for iRacing. Join the Discord. Like I said, the description, or the link is in the description. I can't talk. But being the guys on there will help the best we can. So anyways, you guys like what you see, hit that like, subscribe button, and hope to see you guys on the track. Thanks for watching.